Have you ever felt safe in someone's presence only to suddenly feel the air go cold, even when nothing was said? Welcome to Marya's Musings. This is the episode 5 talking about I felt safe until I didn't. The nervous system knows first. This is the space where you walk with me as I process life. I find meaning, make connections, and offer others the same tools I've been using to help you look within. It's Marya's Musings. And today we're talking about emotional neglect and our nervous system. How do they all work together? And what do we need to do to address it? But if you're joining me now, please make sure, if you haven't done it yet, that you have hit the subscribe button, you like and share a comment. Anything that's coming up for you. Did I hit the mark? Am I off on something? Do you have a question, a comment, a thought? Deepen my understanding of this conversation, because maybe I'm off and I'm okay with that, because growth is all I'm always looking for. So I'm Marya, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting. And on Marya's Musings, we unpack things in life so that you have the tools to figure out, what do you do when it actually happens to you? And today we are talking about this idea of moments where we feel safe in someone's presence, relaxed, comfortable, and ready to let our guard down. And then something shifts. And now they're cold, they're distant, their tone has changed. Their physical connection to us is more farther away, and they're not making that effort the way they used to. That happens. And that experience is not connected to just your emotions. It's actually really also about your nervous system and how it's sensing things before we can name the change. Because when you know, and you know the shift, you know because your body is telling you. So this is going to be a deeper unpacking of this idea of emotional neglect. Before we actually think about anything, our body is feeling it. And that's, again, because of our central nervous system. It's made up of the brain and the spinal cord, and it constantly is scanning our environment for cues of safety or threat. And there's actually a process for this. It's called neuroception, and that's a term coined by Dr. Stephen Porges. It's automatic, it's unconscious, and it determines how we respond a long time before we even have the language to know what we're sensing. So you know it. You felt it before. Let me know in the comments if you remember those moments where you know, ooh, something shifted inside this moment. Something shifted inside them. And this is where then we figure out, so how do we respond, right? And I think about it this way. It's like, you're with someone, everything feels good, and their warmth, their eyes, their presence, the intimacy, it's the way your voice and their voice meets each other. There's just this gentleness and safety. And your nervous system is saying, you're safe. You can let your guard down. But then that moment shifts, and there's a change in that tone, a pause that's a little too long. The feeling that they've kind of emotionally checked out. Maybe they're treating you more like a bro than a lady, or they are looking at their phones and scrolling while you're talking, but you just feel that shift. Your body is going to react. And I want you to think about how many times this has happened. Your shoulders tense, your breath shortens, maybe your stomach drops, or you suddenly just go quiet and you pull back, or maybe you joke your way out of the discomfort. I can tell you, for me, shoulders tensing. I've had shoulders tensing for weeks now. And when I think about it, it's definitely a feeling of not feeling safe. But again, these are real signs of our nervous system, which is actually really trying to protect us. And we're going into this protection mode of fight, flight, freeze, or appease. So it's not drama, it's biology. And we all have our own ways of dealing with it. It really is connected again to this idea of someone's warmth has faded, and our body is remembering a time again and reminded of that time when we realized that love was unavailable or unsafe or uncertain. So even though it's not like this really big betrayal, it's no obvious harm, it's harmful because it's the absence of attunement and connection. And truthfully, it's taking us back to our own experiences that maybe can be triggering and remind us of times where love was not safe. So your nervous system is saying, oh, yo, don't go there. Don't go there. Pull back. Like all the warning bells are going off. Pull the fuck back because it's happening again. You're not safe to let your guard down. This person is not here to protect you. They're going to harm you. And you feel it. Even if that harm is as small as inconsistent behavior and not showing up in their full authenticity, not letting their guard down, not being vulnerable, that is a form of harm because it's hurting you. And more importantly, it's creating a trigger in your central nervous system. When there's inconsistency, or feeling a threat because of confusion and not feeling safe. And one thing that's for certain is trust that comes from relationship lives in clarity, not confusion. All of this is tied back to how we're socialized. Because, yes, friends, our socialization comes into everything. And yeah, here's my little plug because socialization and all of these patterns that we are unlocking and understanding about ourselves are part of the course that I've developed. It is a 5-week guided course all about unlocking the empowerment within us by identifying our patterns and reclaiming our stories and creating new ones. So I'm going to give you tools and I'm going to give you processes. And today I'm going to give you a little teaser of those tools and processes through our conversation. It's story time, friends. And I want to share a story with you about just my own experiences when it comes to this socialization of these patterns, right? So a few years ago, I was at a girlfriend's house, and this girlfriend has known me for almost 30 some years, since I was a child. So she was a part of my family. She saw my parents a lot. And at the time, me and my younger sister were at her house and we were just chatting. And she was sharing with her boyfriend how the dynamic of our parents, my sister and I, right? Our parents was just this beautiful love that they were just so great as partners and they protected each other and they always, did things together and they had great communication and they were just this ideal couple in our community. And then she looked at me and my sister and she was like, what happened to y'all? How'd you choose the men you have? And I was like, little hurt, not gonna lie, little hurt. But at the same time, yeah, that's some real shit. That's some real stuff because for certain, I saw my parents as best friends and soulmates. They loved each other. They supported each other. They protected each other. They built businesses together. They were social justice warriors together. They were pillars of the community together. They raised our family and they raised every other cousin, uncle, aunt that I had all around us, and then adopted even more kids that were surrogate children all these years of our lives, like growing up, right? But then in tandem with this unconscious, just beautiful life they had in front of us, they also socialized me to prioritize other needs before my own as a woman in relationships. And I was told, right, pretty consciously, you're supposed to take care of others. You're supposed to sacrifice your own needs for someone else's. So I was getting mixed messages, but I learned that being accommodating was good. I was doing a good thing. I was sacrificing myself for someone else, which was my responsibility as a wife and as a mother. But what I realized is that that led me to always sacrifice my own needs for the men in my life. So I ended up marrying someone that my marriage looked nothing like that. We weren't friends. And I didn't really know the level at which the harm that was being done to me. And you can go and read some of my posts and my other blogs and things like that about that kind of pain that I was enduring. But what I did know is that we weren't friends. We weren't friends. There was no laughter that connected us. There was no lightness. There was no ease. There was no co-regulation. I was always exhausted because I was always in survival, and we weren't friends. But what made it even more layered is that I was also raised to believe that as a woman, I'm supposed to prioritize everyone else, serve others, and hold my family together. So being that support, that fixer, that self-sacrificer, that was my role. So my socialization messages created some kind of internal chaos that made me never feel like love was safe. I learned to stay in situations where I was ignored, I was unseen, I was disconnected, and I told myself, this is love, this is duty, both in marriage and then later as I started dating, this is love. They need to be happy. And if they're happy, then I'm happy. And if they're not happy, then what do I need to do to make them happy? So when you grow up with both a beautiful example and a painful expectation, it creates a lot of confusion in your body and in your behaviors, and you start to mistrust your own internal signals. That's what I was doing. I was I was mistrusting myself. I was allowing myself to stay in places where I wasn't valued and I wasn't seen and I wasn't appreciated. And it led me to a lot of heartbreak, a lot of heartbreak because I didn't believe what my body was telling me. Those shifts, they're real. They're there because something is off. If someone's warm with you, if someone values you, they're not inconsistent in the way they show up, in the way they care. But that's what I was getting. That's what I've always gotten in relationships, is what I've realized. And friendship and love in one direction, but I was taught to endure disconnection in the other. And even though I've known what I wanted, I have yet to understand how to show up and maybe create it, right? And that's a lot. That's the tension that so many of us are unraveling. This emotional safety is so important to the foundation of all relationships, which is trust. We have to be seen, valued, and held with care in all of our layers, and all humans are craving this sense of belonging that sometimes we over perceive safety and connection, and we let down our guard too soon, hoping that we're going to be filled up by others. And what ends up happening is we hand our power over to someone else and ask them to remind us of our worth. That's what I was doing. That's what I've been doing. I'm gonna own it. Been doing. I'm working on it. And that's why we're doing these tools, because I'm constantly working on it, because love is the area that I struggle with. And y'all know this because I write about it, talk about it, and have been shouting from the rooftops from it because it's the truth. And not because I don't want it, but for whatever reason, it's my test of learning. And through my learning, y'all get to learn. So we crave connection, we crave belonging. But what I've learned in the last 8 years of dating is that when I gave that power to someone else to give it back to me, I gave away my own internal knowing of myself. And what I needed to start doing was listen to my central nervous system telling me and teaching me what was for me and what was not. That's it. Your nervous system becomes your teacher. It's going to tell you when you feel emotionally safe, when friendship's present, when attraction feels mutual and respectful. And it's also going to alert you in old patterns of overgiving, of shutting down, of people pleasing, right? Your central nervous system is giving you all these messages, and it's pushing you to no longer tolerate the discomfort and the one sided connections, but to start naming what you need and replenishing us inside, replenishing yourself. So, this is where tools come in. And for me, the framework that I created, which is return. So, this reclaim starts with changing the patterns. And that's what I've been working on through my framework called return. And this framework is really focusing on how we remember the patterns, we examine them, we transform them with our mindsets, then we unlearn with our behaviors, we reclaim our empowerment, and we nurture. So today we're going to focus in on this idea of transforming, because transforming is about a mindset shift. And it's recognizing that I've been taught something about love, about duty, about worth. And that mindset has not actually helped me. And that's me. I've been taught something and it has not helped me. So now I have to transform my mindset to recognizing something that actually is my power and knowing myself. So today we're shifting this mindset with this new these 3 affirmations. I want you to try this with me. So, transformation is shifting our mindsets, which is the first step that we need to do in making these changes once we've examined and identified the patterns. And I knew the patterns. The patterns are overgiving, the patterns are shutting down, the patterns are walking away. The patterns are sometimes for me using humor to deflect a moment or going into business Marya mode. So, what do I need to say to myself? And what do I offer for you to say to yourself? I'm whole and complete as I am. Any relationship is a bonus, not a fix. It is no one's responsibility to fill you. It is no one's responsibility to fix the things that are broken inside of you. You are whole and you are complete. And having someone in your life is a bonus. I tell myself that all the time. My nervous system is wise. I listen to it and not shame it. Listen to your body when those shoulders start tensing, when that heart starts beating, when you feel yourself shrinking. Something's not safe. Something's not in attunement with what your emotions need. Name it, see it, give it love, and then remember that it's telling you something. How do you listen? And then finally, I can feel my emotions fully without becoming them. And I don't give power to others to define my worth. Nope, it's nobody else's responsibility. And it's nobody else's power because your worth is you. You're whole and complete. You're whole and complete. So these are some of the pieces that you are just going to get one in my courses when it comes to having the language to transform, but also in just offerings to you. When emotional neglect comes, how do you move through it? How do you help yourself? So all of these are that, right? I'm starting to feel safer because I'm telling myself I know how to do this. And when you know yourself better, you also give yourself permission to be human. And it's okay to feel the things, but don't sit in them too long. Always have your toolbox ready to move through it and to heal. And that's what I'm here to support you with. So I know that I've still got some patterns, but I also know that when I sense emotional neglect, when I feel that shift from a man, and for me, I can tell you right now, it's the shift from when a man makes me feel like a lady, gentle, soft, bringing the feminine softness out of me, to when I have to go into protective mode because I've become the bro or the businesswoman or just that person that's in the space with them. So I felt safe until I didn't. And it's happened a lot of times. But now I know that that shift wasn't my fault. It was a signal about what was happening around me. And now I want you to just think about, when have you handed over your power, hoping that someone else might validate your worth? Have you? How can you change that story for yourself? How can you start to transform? And I invite you to come join me for my course, Empowerment Unlocked. All the information is in my website. It's also on my Instagram. The code and the link to be able to subscribe and to register for the courses is in my Instagram and on my website. And it is 5 weeks starting in January, on January 22nd, for 90-minute sessions together in community to heal and gain the insight into our patterns with the tools to start to transform and unlearn them and reclaim our power. So join me in Empowerment Unlocked. Join me on my show, Marya's Musings, which if you haven't done it yet, go and subscribe, like, share a comment, and pass this along. And make sure you hit the bell so you get all of the Marya's Musings and Pain to Power and anything else I put on YouTube when it comes out fresh and hot and ready. And follow me. I am writing on Substack, and I have lots of stories I share about my own healing and my journey, dating, relationships, family, healing, culture, identity, all of it. I am also on TikTok and Facebook, LinkedIn. What are the other things? Instagram, all of it. Brown Girl Interrupting. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you're walking away with some new tools to move through these moments of emotional neglect. And remember, it's the energy shift and your body is feeling it. So, what are you going to do to take care of you and remember your power? Peace, love, and light. Marya's Musings, and I am Marya Kazmi, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting. Thank you for joining me, and please make sure you leave a comment, share, like, and